The Donathon continues with Oski and Toxic's run. They are up to level 4, doubling after beating Nush and Fahad. They have the Danish duo of Ejby and TempoH for $500. It's a best of 7 now if they want to try and gain this prize. Nobody has made it farther than level 5. I'm keeping it. I've done every single intro on 1 try. I'm keeping that one. I'm not doing 2 tries. Chat, here we go. It's Oski and Toxic versus Ejby and TempoH. As Toxic and Oski look to repeat what Zen and Atto did in the early days of their 2v2 show match before they ran into them, which is go undefeated against every possible opponent. Now, this is the first best of 7, which I believe... No, I think... Yeah, no, Nupo and Batira played a best of 7 against Zen and Atto, and they got swept. So, to match them, they should get one more sweep, and I imagine they're going to try and keep going again and again and again. TempoH and Ejby, very high-rated duo. Just got done playing RLCS, 2 Danes, 1 Brub. Oski and Toxic did not play the RLCS together. They are not RLCS teammates, but they have looked strong on the 2v2 field. TempoH resetting into a weight dash 50. TempoH has gotten to play in this streak earlier. Not in this streak, but in this tournament. He played on the team of Atomic and himself, trying to take down Zen and Atto, and they did not grab a game, although they had some decent performances. Now, he's with a different teammate. His RLCS teammate in Ejby, and it might just be a good enough team. I really like this Sonic coin goal explosion. And I feel like when I've watched Ejby in the past, he's used it. They're going to score first here in this best of 7. Let me update the title here. As our show match has started. The 2 Danes are without their bruv that they'll be playing their LCS with. Of course, everybody in this show match did not lose any games today in the RLCS. Once upon a time, the players didn't even have to play this day. Is that still true? I think... Didn't they make an adjustment? I'm trying to think if I made that up. Where the teams that make main event at least get to skip to the Swiss. They don't have to play the first 2 days of the qual. Didn't they make that adjustment? I'm trying to remember. Maybe they didn't. Does chat know? Or do they have to play through every time? They're always going to make the double Swiss because they, instead of just a single Swiss to qual, they have the double Swiss now. It's even more reliable, I would say, in making sure nobody drops too early like they once did when Blast took over initially. Teams from the playoff. Got it. Get the skip pass. They go to day 3 of the first week. Good to know. Looks like we got the boost bug going again. Probably because I switched perspectives one time, not thinking. If I never ever switch perspectives, I think it doesn't happen. But now we've got Ejby's boost on every single POV we look at. Oski up to the ceiling, pinches it away. Oski and Toxic have been a great duo. Toxic has been bump heavy, and Oski has been clip heavy, although Toxic's got a fair bit of his own as well. As TempoH gonna 50 with Toxic. Oski tried to pre-jump it all, but TempoH dimes with the pass to his teammate, and TempoH and Ejby are up 2-0. Oski trying to find the back wall and attempts to get the ball to Toxic, who has more than 0 boosts, despite what the overlay tells us. TempoH outpacing Oski at the midfield. Now hanging out, trying to be in the way of any passing plays. Toxic able to find Oski. Now Ejby in control of the ball. Has one defender to beat if he goes quickly. And he did beat that defender. 3-0. Ejby and TempoH are ready to go. Ejby was selected by the wheel. He brought in TempoH as his teammates. And they seem to be a formidable twos duo. Oski throwing one at the back wall, now passing back to Toxic, who's going to find him on the side wall. He's got to reset. Not the kind of finish that he needs to get past this defense. It's looking like Oski and Toxic will not be winning every last game like Zen and Atto did. Has a 3-goal lead for TempoH and Ejby. Maybe I called it too soon. Oski did miss on the long shot. It goes crossbar down. Toxic forces it in. Does anyone else think that this goal explosion reminds them of Balatro? It looks so celestial. Let me just open this goal explosion pack. Anyways. Ejby trying to clear this out a dangerous way. TempoH took a trip out for boost to enable their defense. Sometimes hanging out in net is not the right play. If you think your teammates got the time in order to allow you to go pick up 100, sometimes you look silly. These guys are the ones perfecting it. Infield pass gets cut off immediately. 4-1. TempoH, Ejby looking strong in game number 1. Toxic wants a cheeky kickoff goal to get some momentum back their way. Pre-jump isn't going to work. One last chance. TempoH slaps it to the ground. Game 1 of the best of 7. $500 on the line for Oski and Toxic. But they'll start in the hole. Game number 2. TempoH going to fake the kickoff. Ejby will dime him up. Toxic's all alone. TempoH will flick it past him. Is this a passing of the throne? The throne of the king of the streak. These guys are looking really strong. Great setup. Good kickoffs. The winning duo has always seemed to have the better kickoff strategies in these twos matches. Oski and Toxic have often been that team, but right now they find themselves trailing once again. TempoH up to 50 with Toxic, who has managed to keep control of this ball, but only for a moment. As Ejby will clean it away. Nice recovery on the sidewall to get one more touch, making Oski's 50 a lot worse than it would have been if he was all alone. Oski sent this one straight in the air. Bounce is awkward. Ejby just trying to be a wall to keep this ball in play. TempoH maybe he was hoping to give it over to his teammate, but Ejby's elected to grab boost and play it a bit safer. Sleaze Breeze! Thank you for the gifted sub. Toxic wanted the midfield reset on the 100. Was not gifted it. He's watching Ejby to see if he has to go. Decided to wait it out. TempoH was so busy bumping that he was not available to shoot on the pass from Ejby, and that is a great counterattack from Toxic and Oski. Ejby was thinking pass, and TempoH was definitely thinking shot. That's why he went to go take out the defender. A great idea if Ejby's putting it on target. Miscommunication between the Danish duo, and a tie game in game number 2. Oski and Toxic staying aggressive on fairly low boost. They're going to have to retreat now as TempoH looks to solo this ball all the way into a teed up position. Ejby tried to fake, and Toxic was maybe not even in the position to save a quick shot if he had taken it. TempoH air dribble from the back corner, reset over one. Wanted to bump Oski, and he might have gotten to miss, because I don't think Oski misses there without a little bit of influence. Or sorry, Toxic. It was Toxic who was on the back wall. It was Oski who was down low. 2-1 lead for Ejby TempoH. Ejby booms the ball forward, and now Oski and Toxic cannot seem to combine for the kind of offense we got used to seeing in matches before this. That's a nice outplay of the first defender. But the Danish duo always having each other's backs, not letting in any free opportunities. Toxic did not want to go for that ball initially. He wanted to be able to weight it down to the ground, but it got stolen away. TempoH alone with Oski. The placement is there. Oski tried to adjust his jump to get his car pointed up towards that top corner, but was not able to get there in time. 3-1 for TempoH and Ejby. Toxic has control off the kickoff. Brings it down into a 50 and lobs it up now for Oski. Does a good job of setting Toxic up, but Toxic's moving so slow. And the ball put maybe slightly behind him. He can't get any speed for the shot. TempoH and Ejby control it. 50 going to force Ejby back. He is waiting to just buy time. He's actually teed TempoH up nicely. Toxic jumped and went flying past. Ooh, Oski missing in front of the net as well. These guys are panicking at a level we have not seen from them against any opponents. It's not looking quite as smooth as it once did. And Ejby and TempoH are up 4-1 in game number 2. Ejby, nice single jump pop. It's the defense from Denmark that's been so strong compared to this Polish-English duo, which at times have had slip-ups that we're just not seeing. Although Oski making TempoH's life easy there as he resets and flies past that ball. Oski going backboard double. TempoH knows what he can do, not going to let him do it. A lot of great uses of empty jumps from TempoH I've seen so far. Whether that's right there to just get a little bit more height, get over the top of the pressure, or push himself down to the ground, and the goal he scored earlier. TempoH, maybe pogo shots. It will be 5-1. You know I love me some pogos, and TempoH uses it as the way to beat the last defender. A nice pop over the top of Toxic, and it is all Denmark right now. Oski lean back into the reset and actually carries this into the net. I can't believe this is the one that worked. I think Toxic got a bump on the goal line to make it possible. Oski had to flip back towards the ball. TempoH was going high, and yeah, Toxic was being a pest. Oski not able to find much of anything. Not that it should matter in these last 20 seconds. Can't imagine we get 3. That is headed straight towards the net, and Oski will be the one to finish it. Okay, I guess there's a chance. But it's so much easier to contain kickoffs in 2s than it is in 1s. Toxic, super aggressive, gets a demo. But TempoH is able to do it by himself. Doesn't need any help. 6-3. Game number 2 should be Ejby and TempoH's. A lot of people looking to 2 Danes, 1 Bruv as a team that is on the rise. Yeah, we're screwed. See, it's showing us Toxic POV right now. Dang it. Even though we're not on anybody's POV. And now that we switch, yep, you can't accidentally hit somebody's POV or bugs. I wonder if you go like auto cam or something. Okay, I went auto cam and went back. Did that? Doesn't seem like that fixed it. Too bad. We're just stuck on Toxic Boost again. Nice passing play. Toxic to Oski. The thing is, I keep director for 2v2s, but I always switch to the POVs for 1s, so it's muscle memory to just switch to a POV when the match starts. There is no bug. What are you talking about? There is no bug in Bossing Say. There is no overlay only showing us Toxic's boost right now. Obviously. Tempo. Air rolling around Toxic. Pop from Ejby. Has to try and score it by himself because Tempo won't be around. And wasn't able to do so. Is this our first lead even that we've seen for the reigning duo of the streak? Tempo, is he going to go the distance? 2 resets. It drops in. Toxic got a touch, but it wasn't enough to stop it. A dribble from the back wall. Just needs a couple of resets and a bit of flair. And Oski maybe could have saved it if Toxic left it, but understandable for Toxic to worry about the shot and maybe the one to outplay Oski in the end. Tempo's been doing a lot more content I've seen. I think he's doing YouTube stuff. I don't know if he's been streaming on Twitch much more. Definitely worth checking out Tempo's YouTube. Ejby. Round pinch. Nothing came of it, but Oski's not able to get anything going before he's allowed to challenge again. Nice pass upfield to Oski, who goes off the ceiling into a reset dunk. Tempo lobs it high. Toxic double. Misses. Oski back on the play to keep this in the orange half, but full boost for the Ejby Tempo squad means they're likely to escape here. Ejby tried to flick past Toxic. Ooh, denied him at the midfield. But now they'll be escaping. Tempo probably wanted the demo on Toxic. He settles for a trade with Oski. So for a moment, it's just Ejby and Toxic on the field. Toxic with low boost. We know what his boost is at all times by just looking to the bottom right. You're right, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Ooh, Tempo tried a wave dash to cut it in right away and then overshot it. Crossbar down. Ejby with no boost. Gonna have to be a flick to get it out to Tempo. And Tempo was a big time believer. Oh, they missed! Oh my goodness, Oski and Toxic. They had the golden boot before, but no longer. They cannot seem to get the goals they need to take the lead. Tempo slow playing at 50. Toxic stops the follow-up. Ejby hanging out midfield. Trying to catch and take it over the top of Toxic. Oh my goodness, what was that? Camera tried to switch POV to someone who died, I think. Tempo. Getting nothing out of this dribble. Oski lob to the backboard. Great shot opportunity. Toxic just puts it to the back wall, and Ejby's able to stop the follow-up. Oski now resets. 2 defenders in nets. Tempo handles the ball as it falls on that right side of the nets. It's a small window to score. Tempo able to cover it. This ball gets lobbed up. Tempo flipping out to it. Faking, leaving for Ejby. 2 players up. With 55 seconds left to go, it'll be a back pass. Tempo, heavy first touch. Will have no follow-up. Toxic grabs his own back corner boosts. And now we'll start a dribble off the back wall. Soft touch in order to leave it off for Oski, but Tempo has recovered. A couple different counterattack attempts from Oski and Toxic fall just a bit short. Tempo and Ejby never going too all in, making sure they're available to make the necessary saves. Toxic hooking it to Oski. Tempo missed. Tempo gets back and makes the save off the post. A heroic effort on the second try. And he has kept the game equal. Tempo speedy with the additional touch. Toxic's going to be able to 50 this one. Oski to Toxic. The shot is wide again, just barely. Oh no, Toxic. Oh my goodness, Oski. The one real chance of going in gets stopped by the defender. This would be a terrible game to lose if you're Oski and Toxic with all the chances you had. Staring at a full reverse sweep you would have to get if you don't win this one. And all the close chances. Ejby throwing this ball out of the orange half. Tempo able to get a dunk. Toxic should have a clean dribble here. Ejby is backing off. Toxic lands and probably needed a pogo if you wanted to get that popped up in time, but instead landed and jumped. That was not quick enough. Ejby picks up the 100 midfield. Can't create anything on the low bounce dribble. Toxic will now take control. Gets sent straight to the ceiling. Oski tried to read it quickly, but couldn't. Ejby was faster to the ball. And this is going to pop out to Tempo. Not a great angle for a shot. He does just lob one towards the net to force some boost out of Oski's tank. And now they're playing against a lot less. Ejby fakes, leaves for Tempo. Back wall is in! The speed on the recoveries. Toxic was around in nets, but Tempo gets to the ground and back up faster. Oh, that was Oski this time. I keep mixing them up, but either way, it's Tempo Ejby up 3-0 in this best of 7. Game number 4. Oski and Toxic with their toughest test yet. Was it Zeninato? Maybe not. As Zeninato were only able to get 2 games off of them. Tempo and Ejby have already done what no one else has been able to do. They've gotten 3. Problem is they're playing in the best of 7 right now. Oski reset, gets Tempo to miss. Can't stop Ejby. Oh, that is a good catch. Nice play from Oski to get underneath the landing and take out the final defender in a unique way. Make sure Ejby cannot recover to make a play on that shot. And it's 1-0 for Oski Toxic. Oski attempting to chain dash in the corner to back off. Toxic sent it straight in the air. Oski has to recover in and out as he was not perfectly ready for the low shots. It was slow enough for him to handle it. Ejby bump onto Oski. And that leads to an eventual advantage for Tempo and Ejby as he puts Oski out of position. And neither one of them have boost. Toxic does his best to try and clear with 0. But being completely out means Tempo and Ejby find a way. Fake kickoff works again. Magnificently, Tempo pass to himself to the back wall. Too low on the back wall to get away with. Oski will clean it up. Ejby doing a great job with these 50s to drop the ball into his teammate's lap. And Tempo gets around. One defender can't get 2. Oski and Toxic both low again. About 10 boosts between them both. Surely they've done enough to build up time to get something. Never mind, they don't even need boost. They'll end this play both with 0. Toxic just outplays in the corner with nothing. And these guys thought it was going to be easy to take the ball away from him, but clearly they were wrong. It's 2-1 for Oski Toxic. Toxic trying to get something going here on offense. Has been able to back pass to Oski. Toxic low boost, not likely to come back to be able to help this, but Oski can do it by himself. He doesn't need any help. All he needs to do is beat the first defender clean, which is something he's been having a really tough time doing in this series so far. But he gets Ejby to miss without any interference. And is able to outplay Tempo on the goal line. 3-1. Oski and Toxic not out of it just yet. Toxic flick and boost steal to set up extended offense for him and Oski. Ejby has scared Toxic out of challenging, forcing him to back away. Did not pick up the midfield 100. Tempo would rather Oski miss than put the shot on target. Nice little bump from Oski at the midfield. Prevents Ejby from being in position to receive that pass. And now it's Oski the other way. Ejby does make contact on his first touch this time. Ooh, Ejby's alone with 0 boost against Oski. That is a goal every day of the week. Oski was maybe missing these earlier, but he's back to his regular self as he gets over the top of Ejby. It's an impossible angle, but it's the Oski angle, and it's 4-1. First time chatter said, is this RLCS or private matches? Is that any different? RLCS is private matches. But no, this is not RLCS. I guess it's just a private match. It's kind of crazy to sweat this hard in a private match, am I right? Tempo lobbing one out to the midfield. Minute 30 for them to try and get 3. They've had good offense. They haven't had 3 goals in a minute 30 offense, I would say. Oski rolling double on ceiling heights. And even though Toxic shot is saved, too much of a last-ditch recovery from the Danish team to have any sort of follow-up. Oski rolling this over the top of one. Could not bump Tempo off the ball. Oh, what a redirect. My goodness. The cycle from Oski was just barely off targets. Just absolutely ripped it across the field. .40 seconds left to go. This one is now about momentum going forward. 3 straight game wins for Ejby and Tempo. But that momentum has been halted. A really strong performance from Oski and Toxic in this one. Back to their usual selves. Scoring the wide open nets that are available. Well, not quite open, but at least not missing their opportunities. Tempo and Ejby will get one, but surely not 2 in 14 seconds. Not in 2v2. Fake kickoff is what they go for, which even that is going to take up X amount of seconds to get the ball from the back corner to the net, like probably 90% of your time. So then you'll have to get a 0-seconder to follow up, I imagine. Under 1 hour left in the Donathon. Oof. That one stayed up somehow. Game number 4 goes to Oski and Toxic. Game number 5. Oski and Toxic. Not going to be able to clip to start this next game. Still feels like an Ejby Tempo win until we see one more. Then I'll start believing in the momentum having switched back. And Ejby and Tempo should probably start to sweat. They have built themselves. Nice big cushion to relax on. Oski, nice save. Tempo was hoping to bump him out of the way. Ejby now is going to leave the ball, or actually went back to it afterwards. Tempo has to dodge a bump. Shot is in. Do you feel the snowball rolling and getting bigger and bigger in favor of Oski and Toxic? Toxic, clean catch as a pass setup. First touch resets. Saved, and Ejby and Tempo can potentially score here if they go quickly. Ejby threw it at the nets. Both defenders are in the corner. Toxic Not even close. Toxic knew what he was doing and saves it off the post, and his first one to recover to the ball to clear it out. Ejby will miss now. Fate is swinging back the other way. The post becomes a player for Team Blue. Oski reset high. Oh my goodness, he got a 50 that forced it in. Was it just an own goal? Oski gets past one. It's only Ejby to late recover. Why is Oski so good at these high angle shots? Always seems to find a way. And it's 2-0 for Oski Toxic. Oski trying to lob a shot up, but intercepted by the pre-jump. Tempo lobbing one to the back wall. Never stood much chance as Ejby now looks hesitant. It seems like whichever team has momentum feels so much more confident in the midfield and their challenges it. They had Oski and Toxic second guessing everything for a bit. Now it seems to have gone back the other way after a couple goals in a row for Oski and Toxic. Tempo lobbing a pass up, but a low boost. Ejby never stood a chance at going for it. Tempo bumps Toxic and gets it around him here. Oski low on boost. Ejby goes to bump him, but Tempo never really had a chance to shoot anyways. Retreats for the orange team as they pick up their back corner hundreds and look to start again. Lots of time still left on the clock. Certainly much lower scoring game mode here in 2v2 than we're used to in 1v1, but definitely still enough time to get this one back, and Ejby is going to go top left to put them within one. Toxic didn't take the ball clean off the back wall like he maybe wanted to, and then it allows Tempo to 50 it out to the sweet spot for Ejby. Ejby out of the corner. Air dribble. Turns into a reset pass, but because Tempo doesn't go all in or because Oski's well positioned, Tempo doesn't feel like he can go. It might have actually been scarier than the other ways this pass could have ended. Tempo, nice speed. And it will roll away. It was Ejby who had the pass set up. Tempo wanted the bump, but he keeps finding situations to pass in which Ejby has no boost left over in order to make a play. Tempo's going to sneak through by himself. The pass didn't work, but he will pick up the 100 and attack from the corner quickly to the ceiling for a reset. Toxic was low on boost and could not stop the shot. Oski was trying to react and wasn't quick enough. 2-2 with a minute 20. Oski passing straight to the ceiling. Toxic wasn't around. Ejby, the musty double. Oski's going to clean that up, but had to go quickly, so couldn't worry about where the ball headed up after the save, which means it's going to go right back into the hands of the Danish team. Tempo! He wants to end the streak, and he'll do it with clips of his own if he has to. Pass to himself off the ceiling to the backboard. The double is 61 kilometers per hour, and it's perfectly in the bottom left corner. A minute left to go, and Ejby and Tempo could stop the run of... Oh, it's tied. It's tied. Not the best kickoff from Tempo and Ejby. Ejby cheats up and was expecting that ball to go wide. He swung off of the dead center, whereas the Oski Toxic duo expected the kill in the dead center of the field and were quick to take the shot. Tempo, a little musty pass to Ejby, who will now pop up into an air dribble. Oski gets baited down into the ground. It's a decent setup, yes, and Tempo will dunk it in. Ejby switched up the pace of his dribble so that Oski was out of position, and then Toxic couldn't get the 50 he needed to stop Tempo. The dunk puts Tempo and Ejby back in the lead. Ejby Booming this one over to the sidewall at TempoH's at. A dive from Oski does not work out, so only one defender left, but Toxiic gets a really clean challenge. And it's an own goal! Ejby knew it was getting passed across the net and wanted to make sure he prevented Oski from having a clean tap in, and instead he just tapped it in himself. So we're back to tied. Kickoff into the blue half, but Oski gets the 100. And both Tempo and Ejby are low. Oski air dribble, 50 back wall. Quick shot is in! I cannot believe this game keeps going back and forth like this. But it's looking like an Oski Toxiic win now. Barring another collapse, we should be headed to game 6. And it's not a collapse. It's the opposite. Toxiic and Oski get cushion. Another kickoff they throw straight at the nets. Tempo is actually staring at an open net that will go in at 0 seconds, but game number 6 stolen away by Oski and Toxiic. Or game 5 was. We'll head to game 6 because of it. Game 6! Oski and Toxiic 2 games into what will have to be a reverse sweep if they want to bring this back. And it seems like the kickoffs are going to favor them often, as they've gotten 2 free goals in the last game. Well, not free. They worked hard for them. Smart kickoff strategy, but certainly feel free. Nice challenge from Ejby as he was in danger of getting bumped and leaving the net wide open. Toxiic was thinking about passing to Oski, but he was in deep with low boost. Toxiic just going solo. He actually had boost spawn right in front of him, but he had already planned to leave, it looked like, so he does not steal the back corner. And blue team is back and forth across both corners, stealing boosts and keeping this on offense, but not being able to find an angle. And now Tempo and Ejby able to get some distance between their net and the ball. Oski just barely gets to the ceiling for the resets. Toxiic just going to lob it right back. He's on low boost. He doesn't want to play extended defense. Buying some time for Oski to get back and help out, which he does here by forcing this one high. Toxiic dribble, ceiling height, clean catch and flick. Ejby will prevent it from being a goal. And Tempo will catch some demos on the rotation back, or some bumps and demos. One was a bump, another was a demo. Ejby, demo 1-1. Tempo popped this one up. Save! Oh my goodness, Toxiic, 2 saves in a row. And you get the double what a save from the Danish team, because that, by all means, should have been a goal. But Toxiic the Magician finds a way, and we're still equal. Toxiic catch in the midfield. A slow dribble, he gets some movement off of with the resets. Tempo from the ceiling. Not able to find his way through. Ejby's likely to back off because he doesn't have boost to keep this one going. Oski, interesting test, just booming the ball. I don't think anybody was ready for that. Normally you don't want to do that, but Ejby had creeped up, and so he had to rotate back and use all his boost in order to make a save, but it's not going to work out well for them anyways. Toxiic. Oh, Tempo just had such a quick read off of Toxic's bounce off the back wall. He knew right where it was headed, and he was there to catch it and extend it for the first goal of the game, just about halfway through it. Ejby able to cut off the angle. Most likely, I don't know if that was an open net miss. I think if he had put it on any of a tighter angle, Ejby just saves it before it gets there. So Toxiic and Oski may be prioritizing making sure defenders don't make contact. Usually that's the right idea. Nice play here. Great example of just that, as Oski doesn't care about shooting. He cares about defenders missing. And so he puts it on the back wall and lets Ejby go flying by. 1-1 now. As Ejby gains control and is able to launch this one up with a hooked dribble in the back corner. Why is this net wide open? Clearly, this toxic beat at the midfield included TempoH flying past. Where was TempoH? I can't even explain it. He barely even showed up in the replay. Toxic. Air dribble from the sidewall. Ejby bouncing off the ground, not really getting the kind of clear he would want, but he does make it back to stop Oski's high angle shots. Is Oski just doing training packs of shooting from ceiling heights directly in front of the nets? Just seems way too controlled in that position. Oski now will scoop it up almost a little bit too far upfield. Has to try and use his flip and boost to slow that momentum down. He's able to cut it across the net. Toxic going for some special ground 50s. Unworking maybe as well as he would have liked. 2-1 for Oski Toxic. Minute left to go, and they're forcing Game 7 to try and run this one all the way back after such a dominant start for Ejby and TempoH. Momentum will be in their favor if they can get this game win. Ejby cutting off the shot high. Toxic wants to force a low 50. TempoH and net alone. And that one was high enough that TempoH did not have to respect it. TempoH shots is wide. They need to swarm on this ball, and TempoH's done just that. He's bumped Oski. Ejby, can he put it to the net? He will! 2-2. He needed to score it, and it needed to be near post to not allow anyone to rotate back. Nice side flip from TempoH to throw Oski off. Oski still recovered and would have had a save if he didn't rush it to that near post. 28 boost delay kickoff. 20 boost, 20 seconds. Delay kickoff from Toxic. Oski sends it the length of the field. Pre-jumping TempoH here. 50 is good enough to not allow Toxic a follow-up. Instead, it'll be the Danish duo on offense. This needs to be a good challenge, and it is. TempoH making Oski put it in reverse. He'll start an air dribble all the same at 0 seconds. TempoH gets one touch, hits it to the ground. OT! A goal for Ejby. TempoH means they knock off Oski and Toxic and start a run of their own. It's a fake kickoff. TempoH in control. Maybe it was attempted Spanish. What is going on with TempoH? Oh my goodness, Ejby saves him. TempoH with, I think, was meant to be a flip and an empty jump instead, like a controller slip. But Ejby makes the mess up not fatal. Oski slams one to the ceiling. Ejby catch over Toxic to TempoH. Soft touch is what the doctor ordered. TempoH and Ejby win in game number 6. A lob over the top of Toxic and a soft touch to put it back behind Oski, who was not ready to slow down. He was expecting a hard shot on the left side of the net. The Danish duo take over. The answer to double or nothing for Oski and Toxic is nothing. Oski and Toxic lose 2-4. And their run ends right there. So instead, we must reset this. And we'll drop Ejby and TempoH in with a win over Oski and Toxic 4-2. They're at 6250. They now need to decide whether or not they want to run again. Their wheel will be tough because it will have Zen and Atto back in it when... That was not something that Oski and Toxic had to worry about. Let me pull up what their wheel will look like. They said double! They want a double. They're not backing down just yet. They don't just want pocket cash. They want to run it up. Let's find out who they're playing against. Oh, it's Diaz! So close. So close to Zen being right back. But it's Diaz.